So thanks for taking the time out to come on and do this. Congratulations on your
Thank you.
performance at the games. Did you have your sleeves cut off at the games, or is that a new addition?
Nope, so like the shirts that we got, like all the t-shirts are the ones that I decided to crop.
Yeah.
But I like having just like a few tank tops and things like that, so I decided to keep those ones nice.
Well, that is a tank top already.
This is a tank top they gave us at the
Okay.
game.
All right. Okay.
Yep.
I was like, man, if he keeps fucking cutting bits off his t-shirts, he's just gonna have a bra. And like,
Yeah, right. Hey, why not?
Yeah.
Nowadays. Right?
Whereabouts are you based?
I'm in Minnesota.
Okay. I was thinking that what's the name of your gym?
CrossFit Minnetonka.
Yeah, I remember seeing that and being like, that can't be far from Minnesota. Like Minna seems like it's something geographical, not just a coincidence.
For sure. I think Mini is like Minneapolis, and then I think it's a word for water or something like that, and then Tonka means big. And Lake Minnetonka is one of the big water sources right by us. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, Tonka. That's cool. Like Tonka trucks, isn't that a thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that Cisco? Was that song? Tonka truck?
I'm not sure.
He sang the Tong song and he mentioned a Tonka truck in it. I don't know. Where so is it it's Minnesota City then, is it?
Minnesota State, USA.
Okay, and where are you? Yeah. Minneapolis? No.
I'm about 10 minutes away from Minneapolis, 10-15 minutes.
Okay, I flew into Minneapolis when I went to the games as a spectator, just in case you got excited. Cool. What's the airport? St. Paul, something St. Paul.
Yeah, Minneapolis, MSP.
Yeah, we flew into there, and I had the best burger of my life.
Where'd you get a burger?
Do you know what? I actually can't remember, and it's fucking devastating because people were at because Granite Games is in like Minneapolis.
Yep,
and I've said to people like Michael Dalton and stuff that do media would say like, oh, just head, and I would go to this place and get a burger. They're like, cool, where is it? It was beside a bridge. So like I send really obscure details, and then I try to find the place on like map, that walk around maps thing you can do on Google Maps. You drop the little floppy legged guy down and walk around.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. It's like, I know it was like a red brick place. I know there's an electric bike public rental thing right beside it. I know it was like under a bridge. You could walk above on the bridge, or you could walk underneath on some kind of walkway thing. But there was mac and cheese in it.
Mac and cheese burger?
But it was like a normal burger, but there's mac and cheese in it. And I was like, this is unheard of. Like from my cultural reference points, I was like, this is an anomaly.
Yeah,
but the mac and cheese was like breaded, so it was like twice baked or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think about it, just idle-minded.
Just daydream about it.
Yeah, sometimes. Now, but there is also the danger of like, have I built it up? Like, was it just like a nice burger? And I'm like, oh, it's the best thing I've ever eaten. And then if I went back, I'd be like, oh, this is just a letdown. Maybe just never
not as good. Yeah,
that's for sure. Do you drink coffee?
I do not drink coffee very often.
Oh, is that a heart problem or what? Taste?
No, Ashley, my wife, she is huge into coffee and all that stuff. It makes fun of me because I don't really drink it very often.
That's unusual though, that one partner would be into it, one would just be like, no.
Yeah, I don't know. A little bit different. I don't know. I usually work out in the morning right away, and I don't know. I feel like coffee is kind of like, if you're gonna have a coffee, you're gonna like kind of sit and relax and like,
yeah, that's fair.
Drink your coffee. It's not like a pre-workout. So like right away in the morning, like I'll do my pre-workout and kind of get that going. And I mean, there's nothing relaxing about waking up, getting the whole house ready to go, like getting the kiddo ready to go, and I get out the door and no time to really sit there.
You're also not going to relax slamming pre-workout. You're not going to sit quietly read the paper while knocking back dry pre-workout and drink water after. What age is your kid?
She'll be 5 in 3 days.
Oh, okay. Wow. Happy birthday. And have you just got one kid?
I got her, and then Ashley has a son as well. And yeah.
Okay. What age is he?
He is 13.
Okay.
There's a pretty big gap there. Yeah.
two ends of the spectrum in the house then.
Pretty much. One's going through like the starting the teenage years, and the other one is just
wide-eyed and
pretty much. Yeah.
yeah. Everything is great. It's all rainbows and unicorns. Yeah.
Exactly.
The other one's like, no, it's not. Wow. Okay. That's cool. That must be tricky. And is a 13-year-old useful with the 5-year-old? Is it like, can you like go out and be like babysit, or is that like too young?
We've started to a little bit more now.
Okay.
Just kind of like dabbling in it. So fairly new. I mean, definitely going to be a bonus when we can have him just sit there and watch us, so we can get back to going out, date nights, just things like that.
Yeah, we're going away now for a week with like in-laws, and my father-in-law was like, "Oh, you guys should book like a hotel for a night while we're away, and like just go off and we'll mind the kids or whatever, or like even just go out for dinner." And I've like an almost 1-year-old and like a 2.5-year-old, and I'm like, I can't fucking do that to them. I like to my in-laws, I can't be like, cool, it's your problem now, and like close the door and screech the tires driving off. Yeah, no, I can't. It doesn't sit right. So yeah, I'm also looking forward to those days. Although with our kids, there isn't enough of a gap that one can babysit the other. It'll just be insulting to the slightly younger one. To be like, your sister's in charge. You own so you own a gym. How long have you owned that gym for?
I don't necessarily own it right now. I mean, the plan is that I'm gonna be buying in as a co-owner, and I mean, fairly soon. But I mean, I run everything that has to do with the gym in terms of like coaching the coaches, like being the head coach for the members, like general managing the place. Yeah. So, and I've been here about just over 2 years.
Okay. So I was looking you up. I did extensive research. I didn't really. You are really, really hard to research. Did you know that there's see the way your surname is Mathew?
Yep.
There's like Nick Mathews with 2 T's. So I was researching him for a while. I was researching 2 guys. I was like,
definitely confuses people.
Oh, like although there's precedence for it for people having Mathew and being successful in CrossFit. Like Matt Fraser did it, and he did. I think he did okay. I'll look into his numbers, but I'm pretty sure he did all right.
I think I've heard of him or something.
Yeah, he's familiar. Maybe it came 5th once or something. No, first 5 times. That was it. So yeah, this Nicholas Matthews guy with 2 T's. I was like looking at his numbers, and I was like, well, yeah, that's pretty good. I was like 40 to 44. I was like, Jesus, he didn't look that old. Like, I was like, he looked pretty good, Nick. And I was like, I feel like the commentators would have mentioned that there was a Masters, like
that I was the oldest person in the field.
Yeah, like possibly ever. I was like, this is weird that they didn't. And then I looked at the picture, and I was like, I don't think that's the same guy. And then there's another Nick Mathews that's like runs a business school, and again I was like, no, I mean, he looks like quite an intelligent guy, but I think that again that would have come up somewhere along the way, that like, oh, and did you know that this guy that's winning this event also happens to run a business school? So yeah, there's an awful lot about you though. Have you ever done a podcast before?
I did one with the Clydesdale right before Granite Games.
Okay, yeah.
Just like a little short, like maybe 10-15 minute one, but other than that, this is the first one.
Okay. I'll go gentle.
I would say if you want any of the research, like my entire life is on Instagram.
Yeah. I watched a Proven video.
Okay.
That was before. I mean, misleading title. It was like Meet Nick Mathews, and I was like, here we go. This is all I'm gonna need. And then it was like all Granite Games. Like you were in it, but there was a lot of Granite. I was like, I'd like to see more Nick here, please.
Yeah, the YouTube video.
Yeah. But yeah, it was still good. It was enjoyable. So in that video, you mentioned that you did wrestling, and that you kind of dabbled in baseball a little bit. And you said something that struck me a little bit, where you said that the thing that you kind of liked a lot about wrestling, or the thing that resonated with you about sport, was like that it was just you. And then if you had a bad week or a bad month, or didn't do what you were supposed to be doing, like you were going to fuck up, and then it was like there's no finger, you can't be like, oh, it was a bad pitch, or oh, it was whatever, like. So and that kind of is what I guess probably made CrossFit appealing when you first started that as well. But like, what age were you when you started doing wrestling?
I think I started wrestling. It was 7th grade, so I must have been like, I don't even know what age that is anymore. Like maybe like 12, 13,
Okay.
something like that. Picked up on it right away. I did it for my school league. I went undefeated my first year for that school league, and then I mean, that was rewarding enough in that I was gonna make that just part of my normal year of sports every year after that. Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing too. Like, I really appreciated wrestling for that later on, because it was like, we're working so hard in the gym every day after school. I mean, 2-hour practices, like some of the most grueling work.
Oh yeah, wrestling. We were talking about wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling. Yeah, so I mean, that was one thing I like really appreciated when I first started CrossFit. Was kind of same concept with wrestling, was that you're gonna get out what you put in. You know what I mean? Like, it's depending on like how hard you're working and like the things that you're doing behind the scenes and how consistent and disciplined you are with, I mean, everything from eating to the working out to all that stuff in general. Like, it just played into CrossFit and I just fell in love with it right away. I tried team a couple times in CrossFit and didn't go so well. And I just kind of always wanted to go into that individual route just because that was kind of where my beginnings were.
What didn't go well? As in, like, as a group, you underperformed, or you just didn't like it?
I just didn't like how a win or a loss was determined on the team, or like somebody else could do something really like bad and bomb an event, or had a couple instances where somebody wasn't able to do something, and then that kind of solidified me in wanting to just more stay the individual route, because then it's on me if I win or lose. I'm not relying on other people, kind of thing.
Are you like very competitive? Obviously, you're in a competitive sport, but I just mean in general. I say if you're playing like Buckaroo or Scrabble or whatever, you like flipping tables and stuff.
Right, old maid with the little kid at home. Yes, definitely. I get pretty aggressive with that stuff.
Eat it.
Yeah. She always picks the same card out of my hand, so I'll always it's always the far left card. So I'll just kind of stack the old maid over there sometimes just to mess with her, because I know she's just gonna go grab that one. But
yeah,
all in good fun though. All in good.
She'll thank you someday when she's lying on a psychiatrist's couch. She'd be like, "Do you know what? Maybe actually it was a good thing."
Yeah, right.
So, what can you remember what year you started doing CrossFit then, or how did you start doing it?
So before CrossFit, I was like bodybuilder, power lifter, kind of just worked out and lifted to just get big. I always enjoyed things like running, or like trying to get as high as I can on a box jump, or like doing a handstand walk, or doing a backflip, or like some things that like required a little bit more athleticism than just lifting weights. But I signed up for a powerlifting meet, and I really liked the sport because it was like you can either lift the weight or you can't. There's like no biased opinion of like how your body looks or things like that, like a bodybuilding show that I've done. And then as soon as I was done with that, I went and I did just a 3-mile run, and like it messed me up for a few days just because I hadn't ran that far, and I don't even know how long at that point. And then the same person that had gotten me into the powerlifting meet told me that I should just check out CrossFit. And then I went to my first gym. After about a month, I did the open for the first time back in 2016, and then it was just all she wrote from there.
What are the prospects like if you're wrestling? Is it just Olympics? Is that where that goes? Is that like the trajectory, or are there other avenues if you're good? Like,
in terms of wrestling, I guess I don't think I really got like a chance to develop my goals in wrestling as much. It started with like just middle school, like get good at the sport, and then it was okay, I want to be on the JV high school team. Then I made that, and I wanted to be varsity, and I was able to do that. And then my second year of varsity, I blew my knee out in football.
Okay.
Just the same season right before wrestling started, I tore my MCL, PCL, and meniscus in my knee. And then that kept me out of that senior year of my wrestling season, where my goal at that time was just to go to state. Like I wanted to go compete at state and see what I could do there. And didn't get the chance to do that. So then after that season, wrestling kind of died out. I didn't have a desire to go to college or anything like that, or play sports in college.
And is that like, are injuries like those kind of like, if you're going to do it, that's the time to do it, like when you're young and when you can recover, like, or is that still like, oh, I need to mind my knee a bit now?
I don't really have to mind my knee too much. I think I got some like other things brewing in the knee, but that's just from like overuse and like, I mean, how many squats we do in a week and how much loading we put on our body, just training like a games athlete. I recovered from it. I did a lot of like rehab, like specific rehab exercises, like hamstring curls and things like that. And like I didn't shy away and just kind of like put my leg up and just let it sit. Like I came back to the same football season towards the end, and I was able to like slap a hinge brace on underneath my pads, and I was able to play at least the last couple of games. But then when I got to the wrestling season, there was just so much torque on the knee that I kind of decided to back out of it and not risk it again. I don't know. I've fully recovered my knee, I would say. Like, I mean, I can squat and deadlift and lift a sandbag at the games, and there's no really issues with that. So
yeah, you're doing okay.
You're doing all right.
So you did wrestling, and you were competitive with it as far as your body would allow, I suppose, or circumstances would allow. And then you did bodybuilding, and did you go like you were on stage bodybuilding, like proper?
Yep. After high school, it was just kind of like everybody, that was the thing to do. You'd go to get a gym membership, and then we all just lifted to gain muscle mass, get big, be lean, like, and then that just in turn just developed to, I wanted to do a show. And so I went and stepped up on stage and did a show. And after the second one, I was just like, this is all opinion based. This is all about like how we look. This is like not good for the mindset if I'm just sitting here looking at myself in the mirror every single day, like, and basically stopped there.
And then you did powerlifting, and like you competed in powerlifting, and then you did CrossFit. Like we're getting a little picture of you. I'm actually not sure that old maid is too far off the truth. I think the competitive drive runs deep. What about your family? Are your family sporty? Are you an outlier, or are you like expected, like where you expected to be?
I would say I'm a little bit of an outlier. I mean, I know that my dad played hockey, my mom danced, like my brother tried to dabble in sports a little bit. I had another little brother who dabbled in sports a little bit, but they didn't really take it they didn't take it as seriously as I took it in terms of sports. And then on top of that, not really anybody in my immediate family does any like working out or anything like that on a consistent.
Do they understand like what you did like last weekend, say?
They do now. It started to like at the first like 2-3 years, maybe not, like just like as I made regionals for the first time in 2018. And then I think that's really when like my mom, for example, got kind of like a taste of what it actually was. And then after that point, she's been understanding and following and learning up and becoming a fan of it as much as I was when I first started.
Yeah. It's funny, like my in-laws are incredibly supportive. Like my actual family don't have a fucking clue what I do or about the podcast. I remember trying to explain it to my dad once, and I was like, it's kind of like the radio, but on the internet.
Yeah.
But like he doesn't know what CrossFit is. I never even tried to go there because like,
for sure.
Oh my God. I remember we got like a network set up in our house when me and my brother were both living there, of like we had a hard drive connected to the router so that you could watch it on the TV or you could watch it on a laptop or whatever without needing to have cables.
Yeah.
And my brother explained this to my dad, and then I came home and Dad was like, "Oh, did you hear what he's doing with the watching the movies and stuff?" And I was like, "Oh no, what?" And like I knew, but I played dumb just to see what filter what would come out through the filter.
For sure.
And he goes, he's like, "Oh, you can watch it anywhere." And I was like, "Oh, like where?" And he goes, "Oh, like I could be cooking at the oven and watching it on the oven. I could walk down the hallway and it would just go along with me." And I was like, "He said that, did he?" And he was like, "He said you can watch it anywhere." So I assume that's what he meant. And I was like, "Oh no, that's not what he was." Just like, okay. So yeah, I haven't ventured to explain what CrossFit is, but my in-laws are like ultra supportive and ultra, like they all watched the CrossFit Games last week. Even like awesome. 3 years ago, they never would have heard of it or whatever. During lockdown, my father-in-law watched like the full live stream of like 2016, 2007. Like he systematically went through all the years of like, you know, the 9-hour YouTube videos or whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember his wife said one day we were, I think like Filthy 150 was on, or there was some event, maybe Wadapalooza or something. And she was like, oh, is this like what you and Orla do? Like my wife, she's like, is this what you and Orla do at the gym? And I was like, yeah.
Kinda.
I was like, it's kind of like it's the equivalent of you writing a shopping list and J.K. Rowling writing Harry Potter. I mean, you're doing the same. It's the same movement. You've got a pen, you've got paper, you're moving your hand, it's coming out of your head onto the page. Yeah. But the end result is very different. Like,
yeah, it's hard to explain to people that have no idea what it is. It's like, what, you just work out really fast, or you just, like, what's the point? It's hard to tell about, like, even what the sport is like how do you get points? Like, what movements are which, and do you know the movements beforehand? And it's there's a lot to explain.
Or even when you say like fitness racing, they're like, so running, and it's like, well, there's running in it, and it's like, so it's not just running. It's like, no, there's rowing and skiing. It's like skiing is like, well, on a machine. It's like a skiing machine. Like, there's so many avenues.
Exactly.
It's never
conversation can go everywhere.
Yeah. So you did the Open in 2016. You qualified for regionals in 2018. That was the last year of regionals.
Yep.
And then in that same video, you said that you've, you know, since then, more or less, like any sanction you went for or semi-final or whatever, you've been there, and you've been like, I guess, like bubble, like you've since 2018 you were like 20 something or whatever, and then since then you've been kind of like almost, but just not quite. Is that fair?
Pretty much, yeah. Bubble, like working my way up leaderboards at different competitions. Like I did the Filthy 150 in Ireland, and I've done Wadapalooza, Granite Games, the Mayhem Classic, and it's just been kind of like, just nipping at the heels of it.
Yeah. And is that like, do you think you're getting better because of like time spent there, like where you are behind you, like in the gym and doing stuff? Or is it like competition intelligence? Is it like, oh, you're starting to learn that, like, you know, day 2 matters more than day 1, or that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I would say a mixture of all of it. And I think like I can go back and like each year that I've like been competing, there's always been something that overall I've taken from the year. I mean, some years, like the first 2 years, it was pretty quick done. Like I did the Open and I was like, oh, season over. Well, that sucks. You know what I mean? Then I made regionals and I was like, okay, regionals. I took 24th at regionals. Okay, season's over. So like each year there was like learning curves and things that I had to do. Like up until like my second year of CrossFit, I didn't know what monostructural meant. You know what I mean? I was just doing like 21-15-9s in the gym. I was doing maybe a little extra pull-ups after a workout. I was following like just early programs that were, I mean, are so much more far advanced and developed now than when they were back then. And that just kind of, kept working up the leaderboard there and kept learning different things. And then now, like, I say now competition intelligence has become the biggest role, as I've like now been in the competitions of like letting things go if there's a bad event, or like staying in my own lane and focusing on what I'm doing, not about what everybody else is doing, and just things like that. I would say that's kind
of. When you were, did you get to see much of Ireland when you were at Filthy 150 or no?
Yeah, every competition we go to, we try to make like a nice little trip out of it. Okay. We were in Ireland, I think, for 11 days or something like that. So we took like the tour bus to the Cliffs Moor. We went and saw like a bunch of different stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's on again in November.
I did hear that. Yeah.
I think, yeah. Nick Mathew, the other guy, they're doing it off levels. You know, like the way that when you did the Open, you got
the Open levels
attributed or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see that.
So just from my research on the fake Nick Matthews, he's level 7. So he'd actually, I don't know, he'd be in whatever group that is. That's just
fake Nick Matthews. There you go.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So a turning point, and like, you know, you can say like, it's just a coincidence or whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. But like in 2020, you started working with Proven.
Yep.
And since then, you've been literally like smushed up against the bubble.
Yeah.
Like the 2 years
Close as I can get. As close
you've like
as I can get.
you've almost had your hand inside. It's just
Yeah.
like squashed. Like who's coaching you there, or is it like a mixture?
I would say overall it's a pretty, like, throughout like the season it's been a pretty good mixture. Dwight, when I'm down there, Shane, when I've seen him a couple times before the quarterfinals, but more recently I met I don't know if you know who Nicole Burke is. She's another athlete. Her husband Matt has been my like go-to guy probably over the last like 6 months. Like, he helped me. He came up and stayed with me at Granite Games and helped me through that, bringing me through my warm-ups, making sure my mind's right, food's right, all that stuff. Whenever I like talk about coming down to Nashville, he always opens up his couch for me to stay and like lets me come and eat his food and work out with him and get my experience in there. And then he wasn't planning on going to the CrossFit Games, and he came up with me for that. And again, we just tackled it the same way we did Granite Games, just with more emphasis on like some of the things that like my biggest focuses are like stay in my lane, like focus on what I can control, move on after bad events. Like, so yeah, he's been really my go-to guy.
So like the three things that you mentioned there. So I have talked about this numerous times, like probably too many times. Last year at Granite Games, with the announcement, when they were announcing who was first, second, third, fourth, and then it was you and Colton Mertens in like a split screen. And like, I have to assume this is just a massive like brain fart or lapse in judgment or whatever on the part of the MC. But like, that was the worst thing I think I've ever seen, apart from Brookwell's elbow, on any CrossFit broadcast. I was like, fucking end it. And I'm not even directly involved. I didn't know who either of you were. And I was like, this is not the time or the place. When that, like, do you know that that's going on? Are you just waiting to hear his name or your name and everything else is just a blur? Are you like, oh, this feels like a long time, but maybe I'm just imagining it? Or were you like, fucking come on, man?
The first year
was fine.
Yeah.
This year was fine.
Yeah. The first year taking 6th place by the 3 points that I did, that one was more of like I was standing at the finish line like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Like, is this the year? Like, second year, yeah, I sold out on my last workout on that rope climb workout. And definitely there was mistakes made throughout the weekends where I could have made up a lot of points and capitalized on that. But as soon as I saw that he was up on the screen, I was like, damn it, he did it again. He got me. So like that one, because I knew he had an event win under his belt and you know what I mean? So I kind of knew a little bit more, and it was just going to be about like how close was it again? Like 2 points, 1 point, and I think it ended up being 10 points this year or something like that. But
like, are you when that's happening? So because like last year, last year, yeah, the announcer like dragged it out, like it was painful.
Yeah.
Like, are you like aware that that's happening, or are you just like, oh, this is normal? And
the first year I was aware. I was like, all right, come on, like let's get it going. Like, tell us who did it.
You're obviously aware there's a camera on him and a camera on you.
Yeah.
So then both years when it's announced, are you like just smile and like nod sympathetically with myself and walk off, or like are you trying to control your reaction, or is that just a genuine like, oh, okay?
I mean, I'd say it's genuine. Yeah, like I said, the first year there was a lot more anticipation behind it. There was a lot more like, oh my God, did I do it? Did I make it? Is this the first year? And the 3 points was just like, damn, like so close. And then, like I said, this year I left it all out on that last event, and the chips kind of fell where they did. But as soon as he got on the camera, I was like, damn it, it happened again. He beat me. And that was just because I knew he had the event win or whatever. But yeah, afterwards I was pretty disappointed just in general. I think it hurt more the second time.
Yeah.
Just because I was expecting more out of that.
And last year you did the last chance qualifiers and then qualified again for last chance qualifiers this year.
Yep.
And last year with the last chance qualifiers, is it the same? Are you like, I'm picturing you last year like at the announcement of Granite Games being like, oh, okay, like, you know, I was right on the edge. It's like, oh, that's disappointing or whatever. And then like going into last chance qualifiers, like maybe feeling pumped, maybe feeling like, okay, yeah, you know, whatever. Is that like, is it the same both years, or this year was it the same where you were like, oh, fuck this, like, you know, or are you still like just fired up?
Actually, it was kind of the opposite. Last year, I was like, after Granite Games, I kind of went into like, dang, this sucks, like, blah, 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 like, poor me, like, ice cream and flaming hot Cheetos, and that's kind of what it ended up being. And then, like, when Last Chance came in, and this is one of the things that I worked on between the last 2 years, was, like, my mindset, like, believing that I belong with them. And, like, when I saw the lineup for the Last Chance qualifiers last year, it was like, oh God, I'm going to get blown out of the water. Like, it's not even worth trying kind of thing, kind of mindset. You know what I mean? And then this year, right after Granite Games, I was like, 2 days off, I'm back into training. Like, we're going still, like, full head of steam ahead. Like, kept my nutrition right, kept my fitness right. Didn't really take a rest. I was like right back into it. Last year, after the first event, I saw that I was sitting in like 20th place after the last event. It was just kind of like a give up moment at that point. This year, after the first workout got released and I was 4th, I was like ecstatic, and that like fueled me even more. And I was like, we're really going for it. And I was like, this year was way more fired up than last year was. And then right on the bubble again, 4th place to finish Last Chance qualifiers.
Yeah, so for most people, that's like story over, and it's like, okay, like, thanks for coming. That's your did regionals, finish 26th, done. Did the Open, done. Like, that's your year over. You're like, oh, that was better than last year, but still missed out.
Yeah.
At what point did you get a call? How did you find out that things weren't over?
So it was about a week after. And I kind of like already made up my mind. I was like, okay, I want to do good at some of these off-season competitions that are coming up. And I saw like people had qualifiers coming up for like Rogue, Dubai, Wadapalooza. And I'd already made up my mind that I wasn't going to go into a slump again this year of like eating poorly and just slowing down training and blah, blah, blah. So I had kept my training up again, another 2 days off after Last Chance. And I was like right back into it. And then I got a call like a week after, maybe it was a week and a half. It was just normal weekend. I was just closing up the gym after Saturday mornings of classes, and I got a call from HQ, and they said that somebody may be in violation of their Granite Games performance, that I should be ready to start training again, eating good again, and get ready for Madison. And then that process took about 2 weeks. Like, I heard periodically throughout HQ, like I'd message them with questions and stuff like that. And then about 2 weeks later was like the official. But I had like, as soon as he told me that, I had made up my mind. I was like, all right, we're going to Madison. Let's get things going. So.
And they didn't give you any specifics or anything?
They didn't give me specifics. They didn't tell me names. They didn't tell me reasons why. They didn't tell me anything really. They just said,
you're like looking at the leaderboard being like, yeah, it's that guy.
I was like, oh my God, what is happening? Like, violation of like a no rep in the competition? Was it steroids? Was it could have been anything at that point. And it just kind of took like about a week and a half, 2 week process before I finally it got official. So
you're like in the sport. Does it annoy you when that kind of stuff happens? Like when someone, like, obviously it's great. I suppose it worked out well for you this year, but like in general, as a competitor in the sport, are you like, I'd much rather this stuff never happened? Or are you like, well, the tests are obviously doing their job and this is what we want them for?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, thankfully they do testing. Thankfully they caught what they did. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm in a position to say like how they should do things better or how they should go about how they do their process. Just kind of along for the ride, and kind of if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I mean, people are going to be – there's always going to be people, just like in every other sport, that try to get an extra edge somewhere. And if that was the case, then, like, I'm glad people got caught. You know what I mean?
So, like, it doesn't you didn't have to, like, expedite your games prep or anything. You were kind of – I guess it changed it a little bit. I'm assuming you started doing a bit more swimming and that kind of stuff, but you were fairly zoned in. You
I
weren't
was
like
fairly zoned in,
you weren't like
yes.
rushing off crumbs, being like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like, I mean, again, swimming has been a big weakness. Like after Granite Games, I made it a point to get in open water and get comfortable with swimming in open water because I knew, again, Wadapalooza was going to come up. They're going to have swimming. Like, I want to perform well in that. So I was in the midst of training. Like, it wasn't like games prep or the intensity of games prep or anything like that. But then, thankfully, I messaged my coach, and he was like, you need to get down to Tennessee then and go train with the Proven crew. So then, with the help of, like, the community I have here at the gym, my family, like, people chipping in last minute, and just kind of, it wasn't, like, just a me process. Like, everybody kind of brushed the crumbs off, and we're like, let's go. Let's do what we can to help, which was super great. And then, like, Shane and Tia and the Proven crew letting me be able to come down. I hit their last weekend of, like, really hard games prep with them. And then, so it was a little expedited, but, yeah, I went down and just gave it my best with them, and then it was showtime.
And is that like, is there less pressure going into a games year where it's like, I literally found out a couple of weeks ago, everything's been or are you like, because it's your first year, does it matter how shortly you knew or how different it is? Is there still too much pressure, like a lot of pressure?
I would say the pressure was so much less going in than it would have been if I would have qualified, just because I didn't know where, like, my expectations were 100% yet. And I was talking to Tia down in Tennessee, and she basically told me, she was like, use that as your superpower for the competition. Like, go in, you don't really have, like, any crazy expectations. Like, there's, like, I have goals, yes, like, I have things that, like, I'd want to do, but I had no idea where I would end up being. So that's kind of how I went in. I was like, okay, like, if I have a bad performance in an event, cool, I can let it go really easily, which I found, like, with the swim event or even the cycle right at the beginning. Like, I didn't do terribly. I did better than I expected, but, yeah, I was able to drop bad performances really quick. I was able to just take it how it is, and then made it easier to kind of stay in my lane and know where I was going throughout the entire competition. And me and my coach were just very big on what can we control. Like, we can control my effort, we can control how I recover, we can control how I eat, we can control body work, like, and then just go out there and give it your very best.
Like, when Tia or Shane or whoever comes over and says something, are you just like, okay? Like, you just like, yeah, whatever you say. Yeah, cool.
yeah. Starstruck a little bit still. It's great. It's great being down with those guys, like Brooke, Tia, Sydney, like Gunnar. The whole team down there is just, they're amazing people.
Were you surprised? So obviously you've done, like, you know, Filthy and Wadapalooza and, like, Granite Games a couple of times, and, you know, you're used to, like, competitions, but all those competitions are like 2 days, maybe 3. Did that side of things shock you a little bit when you got to Madison, of, like, that you have to be ready all the time, that you've got, like, these short little windows in between, that sometimes you might have, like, the rest day is gone and there's an event put in, or an event you're about to do is cancelled, another one takes its place? I did that kind of stuff. Like, is that the hardest part of it, nearly?
I would say, I mean, it was tough, like, mentally. Like, after the first day, like, my body was a little bit sore. As I kind of got into a groove, it got better.
Yeah.
Dang chest bars lit my biceps up right away on that first event, and felt that for a couple of days. But other than that, I was feeling really good. Like, by the end, obviously tired, like, worn out, drained. But I think that Proven squad's really good at prep. So, like, it felt like another, like, I've been to a few Proven training camps now that they've had throughout the year, and it felt just like a training camp. Like, kick the intensity up, let it cool down. Kick the intensity up, let it cool down. Kick the intensity up. And it was just, I think I had really solid prep from the programming and the team we're with going in. So.
Did you just, like, hand over responsibilities at the gym then? Were you just like, all right, guys, I'm off the games. Y'all are in charge. Good luck.
Like, when I actually left for the games?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have operating procedures. We have, like, pretty good structure to our gym. We got a couple great coaches that took on a lot of responsibility, picked up a lot. Because I coach a lot of classes throughout the week, probably like 15 hours a week of coaching, and then 30 hours a week of general managing at least. So I was able to do like things like programming and answering emails and messages and stuff and all that while I was down there at the games and getting all that stuff done. But in terms of like running classes, like we had really good support system up here of people.
That's like, you're surely on the lower scale of popularity at the gym, at the games, someone who's still running a gym and working and like answering emails and stuff and not like passing it off. Like
the on-ramps, the intros when people walk in, everything. Yeah.
And is that like, obviously, you know, you don't know what's going to happen in other years, but is that something that you want to maintain? Is that like, do you want to maintain that? Because it's rare that you have people who work in affiliates and who, you know, like are coaching to subsidize their training and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's rare now.
I think it keeps me structured. Number one, I would say, like I don't have like all day to train. Like I got windows of time throughout the day.
Yeah.
So I got like 2.5, maybe 3 hour window in the morning because I refuse to get up earlier than I do. Not a morning person. But I got like 2.5, 3 hour window in the morning that I hit, goes into work mode for like 3 hours, 3.5 hours, something like that. And then I got like another hour window where I'll get a couple other pieces done, and then I'll coach all evening. And then after that, like most nights, like I'll be working out still, doing monostructural stuff. I got a full gym set up at home. So I'll be working out in my garage gym, doing running intervals, staring at the garage door until 10 o'clock some nights at home. So I think it keeps me structured. I mean, not necessarily saying that I want to drop classes or I want to eliminate responsibilities, because I love my job. I love what I do. And I love being a part of the gym as much as I am. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard because it does keep me in a structure and it keeps me dialed in all day long. Yeah.
You kind of remind me of Tim Poulsen a bit.
Yeah?
Yeah, like he's kind of similar I know like he's kind of reeled back in his coaching, as in he's like scaled back a lot the work that he does, but he still like loves being involved. And I think that's something that he said that he's looking forward to when he stops, is that like, oh, I can coach again, and you know, like I can coach more and that kind of stuff. And it's just, there's definite parallels there, I think. What about at the games then, your overall experience? Like, so I know it's difficult to separate performance and events and stuff from just being at the games, but if you think of like arriving, checking in, getting all your free shit, like all that kind of stuff, being moved around, like as a whole experience, were you like, yeah, okay, this is the big show, like this is a real step up compared to everything else I've done?
For sure. Like right away, like, I mean, even as far as the athletes, like I've been watching some of these athletes that are competing that I haven't gotten a chance to compete with against yet, you know what I mean, since I started CrossFit. And like I was a fan first, like I was just all about it, like just people, perennial games athletes that have been in for 7, 8, 9, 10 years that I am now seeing, like just checking in. I'm checking in with them, and I have my own locker right next to them with all the Noble gear and stuff in there, like super surreal. And then, like going throughout the competition, and I mean, the guys are great. The ladies are great. Like everybody's like really nice and genuine and uplifting, and like we joke around, we talk about other things other than CrossFit. Like it was a really cool experience in terms of that, which just made competing even that much easier. So it wasn't like, oh my God, nobody's talking to me. Oh my God, I'm the guy sitting in the corner. Like nobody said one word to me kind of thing. Like, do I belong here? And getting those thoughts coming back in.
Yeah, I'm assuming after event 3 that was moved to event 2, I'm assuming you felt like you belonged, and I'm assuming pretty much everyone was talking to you, like making their business to talk to you after that event. Is that fair?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, that event itself was just awesome. I don't even know if words can describe that. That was the best feeling in the world.
When you saw it, like, were you like, oh, fuck, here we go? Or were you like, okay?
I did. I was sitting next to my coach, and I called it right away. I was like, Matt, I'm going to win this one. He's like, you better have the right shoes on.
And what aspect of it was like, yeah, this is mine?
So like I've dabbled in, like we've talked about already, I've dabbled in all kinds of different fitness, like over the years. Like I was doing handstand walks up ramps and hills just at a playground, like growing up, like things like pegboards. Like I trained at Ninja Warrior gyms with buddies and just had fun doing that and going around and open gyms at gymnastics gyms. So like jumping rope was always pretty easy. Pegboards were no problem. I've done them like horizontal, like vertical, like different mixtures of that. Press handstands and handstand walking and all that's just kind of been stuff that I've always just loved doing in general.
You said at the start that one of the things you've improved on recently is like not like stay in your lane and that kind of stuff. Are you able to stay in your lane in an event like that, or are you like, because obviously you really are racing against the people beside you, where like you'll get cut, as opposed to like I want to do well. It's like, oh fuck, I need to beat like at least 6 people in this heat to get through.
For sure, and I think that event specifically made it even more focused, because if you messed up on one little thing, you're done. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you miss a single under, you're not going to catch up. If you fall off the pegboard once, you're not going to make up. So I made it like, I think that event, I was so focused on every move that I made throughout the time, like that it was nothing to do except run my race.
Yeah. So I have a few like favorite moments of the game. So that was one.
Thank you. You
winning that event, and coupled with it was Boz's reaction to when you were like going towards the end, like the palpable relief on his face of like, oh, thank God someone got off the rope. And that, like, you know, did he say anything to you afterwards of like, oh, you really saved the day there?
He did. He came up to me afterwards. He fist bumped me when I was on the Echo bike, and he just said something like you saved me on that workout. Good job. Something like that. So.
Yeah. But it was cool to watch. Like there is part of me that was like, it was enjoyable. Like I remember someone messaged me. So after the women's heat, someone was like, "This is so dumb," and I was like, "Yeah, okay, we're getting to a point here where it's just anticlimactic, where you're it's just kind of like, oh, oh no, like nothing's happening." And then I messaged back about like 10 minutes later, being like, "It was worth it. The whole workout was worth it to watch you finish the workout. It was worth like the click moment of holy fuck, he's gonna get off the rope, and then it was like holy shit, he's actually look, he's doing it. Like it was worth all of the anticlimax that came before it, I think. It was really good. The second one of the other events, or one of the other moments that I picked out, was the sandbag. So like as a whole, that workout came out, and I think it's fair to say like about 80% of people were like, oh, so it's not a bar then. Like there was like a definite tinge of disappointment and kind of confusion, I think, which from what I can tell, 100% of people changed their mind afterwards.
For sure.
Were like, that was fucking epic. And he said, like, in all the interviews he did beforehand, he was like, Saturday night's going to be fucking wild. And like, I think then when people saw the workout, they were even more confused. They were like, did he not say this is going to be wild? But like, it really delivered. When you saw that it was sandbags and not barbells, like, what was your reaction to that? And what was the general reaction like behind the scenes to it?
My first reaction, again, kind of like the handstand walk. I looked at my coach. I was like, let's go. I love lifting heavy stuff. Like, I want to win this one too. Just kind of like talking out of my ass a little bit. And then when they said that it was like, 10-pound jumps, I was like, oh, this is great. I'm going to establish like a new PR of like what I can sandbag clean. Like, sweet. In terms of like showcase of like how the crowd would take it or like how fun it would be to watch, I was kind of unclear. But I really think that came down to like the athletes, like could have just picked it up and like, no, I can't get it. You know what I mean? And just kind of set it down or whatever. But I think some of the people that like picked it up and they actually had like good long fights with it, like they got it on their belt and then they got it up on their chest and then they rocked it to their shoulder and just kind of kept going with that. I think a lot of the athletes made it an even more fun show that way. Plus celebrations and all that stuff. So it ended up being a phenomenal event. I liked it.
The tie. So like I enjoyed the event, but the fucking tie, I was like, what? Yeah. Well, like, possibly my favorite part of it was the look of just like 10 emotions all at once. It was like watching someone, it was kind of the opposite of watching someone get dumped. You know, like you can see the moment their heart breaks. Like you and Guy were both looking at the screen and both happy and then confused and then like what's going on? And then like
crazy.
later afterwards they're laughing about it. Like, did you both kind of realize at the same time, or was one of you like, oh, we've tied?
Well, so I thought he won because he got up on the platform first. But what I think would happen, and this Tim Paulson actually conditioned me to do this with my foot, like
the hockey slide,
like throw my leg across, the one that has the timer on, because I didn't do that the year before at Granite Games, and that cost me some points that I would have needed to get to the games. But so it's like ingrained in my head, whatever foot my chips timer is on, I'm throwing that leg over. And I thought Guy won because he got up on the platform first, but then I threw my leg up just across the finish line. And I think that's just what did it, was I got my foot over the same time he ended up crossing over where the timer was.
Yeah. I wonder what would happen if you were like lying on the competition floor, but had your ankle, like had your leg up, but the rest of you was lying down.
Yeah.
And I wonder would they be like, yeah, that's fine once his ankle went across.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
Would they be like, I mean, you can get your foot across first, but you also have to then carry on.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I can't really see very good without these glasses on, like in terms of like small things. So like I was like squinting up, looking at the board. I was like, dang, how close did he get me on that? Like that must have been like milliseconds or whatever. And then I was like squinting, and I was like, that doesn't say the same thing. And then I looked at him, and he came over to me, and we laughed about it and stuff. And that was kind of when I realized, I was like, yeah.
That was epic.
That was crazy.
So that's 2 days then where you're going, like, where did you stay in a hotel?
Yep, stayed like 10-minute walk, not even.
So that's 2 days of the competition where you're walking home, presumably like absolutely fucking buzzing, like uncontrollable emotion. Like, how do you just go to bed? Like, how do you just be like, okay, like that's fine, I'm just gonna go to sleep now?
So Thursday night after the speed medley, the gymnastics one, like slept like a baby, felt great. Like those hotel beds were more comfy than my bed. Need a new one of them, but Saturday night, however,
who's that? Eight sleeper,
there we go.
One of those.
That real quick. No, but Saturday night after that event, because I think like the adrenaline was so high for so long, it was like we were. I mean, that felt like an hour we were down on the floor for that event, like with how long it took. And then people wanting to like sign things and take a picture with me afterwards, like and just kind of walking out and seeing my family and stuff like that. We ended up getting back pretty late, and then my coach was like, all right, we're going, like no more signing, no more talking, we're going back to the room. And then we had bodywork guys show up too. I had my chiro Justin come and do that as well, and I didn't end up getting to bed until 11:30 because we were doing like the recovery stuff and getting ready for the last day. And then I couldn't fall asleep all night, and then we had to be back up at like 7 a.m. the next day.
I'd say after the sandbag, your chiro had his work cut out. I'd say there was a lot of like, oh man.
Yeah. For sure.
Another standout moment, I assume for you, but for me anyway, was the Rookie of the Year announcement. Because I think, so I've had this misconception about Rookie of the Year that I think is probably commonplace, but I always just assumed, like I remember my wife was like, who's going to win Rookie of the Year? And I was like, well, Emma Lawson's the highest place, so she'll win it. Because I just assumed that it was, Rookie of the Year was literally who is the highest place rookie, full stop, and that was the only parameter for success. So I assumed that she had to win it. I don't know if that's a common misunderstanding or if they changed it this year. Or...
I think that was right. Like, as far as I know, I think they gave out one Rookie of the Year award before every year.
And it was always the highest place.
That was always the highest placing rookie.
Now, whether that was coincidence or maybe I just assumed that it was like, okay, who finished, like go down the leaderboard, see what the first rookie is, they win.
Yeah,
and then,
that's what I think it was, yeah.
Unless it was just coincidence and it was just, it happened to always be Mal or whoever, like, I don't know. Yeah. So when they started talking about it, were you like, well done, Emma? And then, like, was there a point where you were like, oh,
pretty much.
She said he. Yeah.
So what was it? It started with Emma, and then she started talking again and started like naming some of like my accolades and my journey, and I was like, no way. And like I was just like sitting there like, listening to what she was saying and all that stuff, and as soon as she said my name, that was just absolutely surreal, because that was like, of all things like that I kind of like talked about like going into the games, I was like, let's go for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
let's go for that. Let's see what I can do there. And for it to happen was just, it was amazing.
are you satisfied with your performance? Like, again, is it kind of different because you know, like, didn't qualify in the standard way? Is it kind of hard to judge it against, like, say, will it be easier for you if you qualify next year and can say, like, okay, I had the whole season the way it should have been, I went to the games, this is an accurate reflection of my performance? Or are you looking back at this year being like, exactly what should have happened has happened and I gave my best and I'm happy with what I did?
I definitely think that I gave it my best. I think it still feels a little unreal because of the whole Granite Games thing. Like, yeah. I mean, I feel like that was just a part that was like maybe missing a little bit, that celebration after that and that like enjoyment. But nonetheless, we made it, so I was pretty pumped about that. And then in terms of performance at the games, I would say that there were definitely areas that I needed to improve in. Definitely areas that, looking back at some of the workouts, I definitely could have done a little bit better. But overall, I am really happy with my performance.
And do you look at like the firsts and the fifths and that kind of stuff and use that going into, say, like a few weeks time or whatever, when you start thinking about like off-season competitions and next year and preparing and stuff? Do you use like the, fuck, I won 2 events at the games, like, who does that, and like, this is epic and I'm confident and I'm feeling good or whatever? Yeah. Or do you look at like, well, fuck that 25th, like, that's, you know, that's really lighting a fire under me? What way do you fall on it?
I would say, yeah, definitely I take those first place and I'm like, okay, but like those are like good events for me, those are good things that I'm good at, like, but I don't take it as that's the end all. Like, those are still areas that I need to work on, you know what I mean? Because next year everybody can do crossover double unders. Hell, next week people will be able to do that. Yeah. Everybody's going to be able to do strict peg boards. Everybody's going to be practicing single under, like, consistency. Everybody's going to be able to throw up the 340-pound sandbag. Like, so, like, there's always those areas to improve. But then I do look at events like, for example, my swim event, and I'm like, damn, 34th in my swim event. Like, definitely need to get faster in the pool. You know what I mean? And, like, so I would say if I go through all the events, I go, like, I'll look at my performances. Like, I've taken notes already based on how I was feeling after the workouts and how I felt I gave how much effort I gave into each workout. And, yeah, I'm going to use all that stuff to kind of go back to the drawing board and fill those holes for next year.
Speaking of next year then, so your plans, are you still going to do Dubai, Wodapalooza, those kind of ones, and then?
Yep. My plan is, I guess I don't know what happens with Rogue, but I'm going to be doing Rogue. I don't know if there's like an in-fight process or if I have to do the qualifier or anything, so I'll just sign up for the qualifier. The goal is to try to do that. Dubai for sure, I do want to try to do that, and Wodapalooza. I want to make it kind of a busy off season. Just because I feel like if this is like the year that I kind of like started everything, like I want to make the most of it. And I don't know, maybe I don't feel like I need to have a month off of training, or I don't need to have those days of, I can eat whatever I want or go to bed at 1:00 in the morning if I want to, or and that, I think work keeps me there, like back in that routine again.
Work on a 5-year-old.
Yeah. Definitely the 5-year-old. She gets up early.
Oh man, I have you beat. I don't give a shit what time she gets up at. When
you don't go to sleep, right?
Yeah. They can't wake up early if they never go to bed.
Yeah.
With your season, then, are you going to endeavor to try and get to Nashville and Tennessee and stuff more, or do you think you had a nice balance last year, or how are you going to attack that?
I think I had a nice balance last year, just in general. Like, I went periodically, maybe every few months, because they had like a official semifinalist training camp. They had, I got one of my. I'll probably make it more often this year if it's okay with them again. Like, I always got to run it by them first and kind of see where that is. I would like to, for sure.
Yeah, I think them putting you on a proven post, I think that means you're in now.
Maybe in the crew.
But they'll probably give you a key. You can probably just turn up.
Yeah, right. Maybe. Yeah. If only one day, maybe.
Yeah. Is there any talk of like a clothing line, like a fashion range or anything? I'm thinking
Oh yeah,
like crop tops and jorts or
Yep.
shorty.
Yep, I definitely have. We're talking to people right now. It's been on the plan for a while because I've been wearing the crop top in a competition since regionals back in 2018.
You really stand out as instantly noticeable of like, oh, there he is. Is that like an aerodynamic, like a cooling system, or is it like everyone will know where I am in the lane? They just have to glance.
All of it, and then just add just because it's fun and nobody else is doing it on top of that. So I feel like I should if nobody else is.
And you went. That's cool. I'm happy that there's people being in touch with stuff. I remember maybe it was after Granite Games. I looked at your Instagram, and then after the games, I looked at your Instagram, and there was quite a substantial jump in followers. Like 12 or 14,000 extra or something.
Yeah.
Like, has that brought with it like different kinds of stress? Like, is it hard like managing it? Is it bringing like extra opportunities? Are those hard to sift through? Is it hard to know what's a genuine opportunity and what's not? Are you thinking about getting like a manager or anything like that, or how are you handling that side of things, like the fame side of it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely went up a lot of followers. I don't have an agent or a manager or anything in terms of that as like now. Haven't really talked to anybody too much. Kind of just what I've been doing is what I would have wanted like my idols to do back in the day. If I send them a message that says, "Hey, great job, you crushed it," like I would have wanted a response. You know what I mean? Like, so
man.
Yeah, right. So I've been going through like all my like messages and stuff that I've gotten, and I try to like share as much as I can, try to like as much as I can, try to comment back on as much as I can. And then in terms of opportunities, it's like getting on this podcast, like got a couple of opportunities just with other podcasts and other people that have reached out and meetings with them and things like that. So kind of riding solo on that right now, but
it's funny that someone views this as an opportunity to me. I find that funny.
Well,
look, we'll finish with a quick fire. So they're all either or. So row or ski? Oh, actually, they're not either or. Sorry, this one is. Others aren't. Row or ski?
Skier.
Dumbbell or barbell?
Heavy barbell.
Okay. Thruster or burpee?
I don't like lightweight barbell movements.
That's cardio.
That's too much cardio. I like the 1 rep maxes. Let's go with that.
Thrusters or burpees?
Burpees.
Run or bike?
Run.
Favorite games event?
Favorite games event? I mean, I think it's a pretty big toss up between the sandbag and the skill medley. One of those two.
That's fair. But you had a solo moment at the skill medley, so we'll give it to that one.
True.
Your least favorite swim?
Least favorite event. In terms of placing, probably swimming. Yeah, we're gonna go with that.
And pick a proven team. So you and 3 others. Who are the 3?
Pick the proven team?
Yeah. So it's you, obviously. You're putting yourself in there. That's your first pick. First draft pick.
What is it?
I'm going.
Is this for a game or is this
Yeah. So you have for the games, for some reason they decide that nobody's going individual, that everyone's going team, and you get first pick.
Oh snap. Oh, that's a tough question. Ooh. Is it co-ed team?
Yeah. Standard games, teams of 4, you and one other guy and 2 girls.
Oh man. I mean, I would definitely choose the goats. I would definitely get Tia in there. You know what I mean? I mean, you want to win, right? That's the competitive piece. It's a hard question.
See, the thing I think about picking Tia, like, I mean, you're guaranteed, like, I'd feel so bad if I fucked up. Like, I'd just be like, I'm so sorry. I'd waste the next 3 events just being like, I'm still really sorry about earlier on. It's like, I'm still so sorry about Wednesday. It's like, dude, it's Sunday. Get over it. We're in first place.
That's the hard part about team right there. I can't do that. Can't do that. I don't know. I'll pick Jason Hopper because he picked me for his football mock-up draft.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And let's go Will because he's a good dude. Will Murad.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So one of them is going to have to wear a wig. That's the only problem there, I suppose.
Maybe. Oh, wait, that's 2 guys. Never mind.
Yeah. Hopper can wear a wig. He'll pull it. No one will ever notice. Like, wow, this girl's tall.
Yeah, super tall. and strong as hell.
Yeah. Listen, thanks very much for coming on. I really appreciate it. It's been great getting to chat to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really
congratulations on your season. And the game's just epic. It's great. It's and I remember, like, I was telling my wife that I was interviewing you, and she was like, "Oh, is that the crop top guy?" And I was like, "Yeah, on the skill medley, yeah, like whatever you want, whatever aspect you want to focus on." But I was like, she didn't know, like, she kind of follows but doesn't get into minutia of the season, like, and I was kind of saying, like, he didn't actually qualify, like, he, like, on paper wasn't there, and, like, got called up last minute, like, it was, I assume, pretty stressful, like, and I kind of explained the whole story to her, and she was like, "God, that's fucking epic!" Like, because it's stuff like that makes the sport, like, it's shit that it happened, it's shit that someone took drugs or took a banned substance for whatever reason they took it for, and it's shit that they had to get caught, but it's good that they got caught and that people get caught, and it's a shit scenario, but it's like a really big shining diamond that's come out of it, where people get to see you and see what you're capable of and see the difference it can make, because I think we kind of live in this era of success where it's like you're first or you're not dominant. Like, if you're not dominant, you forget it. And I think this is a shining example of someone who's always on the bubble, who more than held their own at the games when they got their chance. And I think it gives, like, it shines a light on other people who are like, oh, they've never actually been to the games, but maybe they're another Nick Mathew. Maybe there's someone who, like, would do amazing things in the right scenario if they could get there and stuff. So I think
definitely,
like, what you've achieved is remarkable, and it's been really, really good to watch. And
thank you so much. Yeah.
Very proud of yourself.
Thank you.